Here's Mark Haney.
And welcome back. We are here with Shawn Murphy, co-founder and CEO of Switch and Shift, and the author of The Optimistic Workplace, Creating an Environment that Energizes Everyone. Good morning, Shawn. How you doing?
I am well. Good morning.
Good. So you've heard the first part of the show. What does winning look like to you, Shawn?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think for me, it's boils down to a couple things. So my top two values are purpose and meaning. So winning looks like doing something that has purpose and meaning, not just to me, but to the work that I do.
Okay.
So with our clients, I don't take work that is just for the dollars. There's got to be something bigger in it. So I think winning, that's what winning for me, that's what it looks like personally. I think the other part that Jerry said that I thought was important is, it can't be all totally altruistic. There is a financial element to this,
right,
and that is in making sure that my family can, have the lifestyle that we need to be able to live the kind of life that we want. We're simple people. We don't need lots of money, but
but yeah, you got to make a live. You got to put food on the table, right?
Absolutely.
So you talked about your finding purpose and meaning for your clients. Who are your clients? How do you help them?
Yeah, so we one of our clients is just outside of Seattle. They're a healthcare company, and the CIO was looking to reorganize. He was a new guy, brought in because there was a big security breach, and kind of had to clean up because there was, people had to be held accountable. So typically when an organization reorgs, they think, oh, well, we just move the boxes and we're good, right? Salary reports to John reports to me, and everything is good. Well, we like to look at what we call the human side of business. There are people who are involved here, and just moving people in boxes just doesn't make good business sense. You got to sustain whatever business outcomes you're responsible for. So you've got to tap into the knowledge of the community. In this case, it would be their customers, as well as their internal customers, as well as what their employees are experiencing, and find out what's important to them and how can that be folded into the way that the organization is restructured.
Now, typically what I recommend when there's a security breach is some surveillance cameras. We own a surveillance camera company, so that's kind of our go-to. But I guess helping them with their management is also important. Yeah. Now, what kinds of things should people be thinking about when they start discovering their purpose and their meaning?
Well, the first thing that I think anybody needs to really get clear on if they're going to explore purpose in their life is, what do they stand for? What are their personal values? I don't think a lot of us really spend a lot of time thinking about, well, what's valuable to me, right? We kind of intuitively know it, but in terms of like sitting down and really doing the work, a lot of us don't do that. And I think if we're going to live a purposeful life, we want to make sure we're doing things that align with what we believe is important.
Do you recommend like a purpose statement for a company or for a CEO or an entrepreneur?
We're working on right now some new marketing for Switch and Shift, which is the company that I'm the CEO of. And the video guy asked us, he said, so what is your purpose? And I went, and I'm a purpose guy, right?
Right.
And so I think there's some value in identifying and writing it out, but oftentimes it gets cheesy, and then, people don't pay any attention to it. So it really needs to be integrated into the way that you act and interact with people. Okay.
And so you've written a book,
Yep.
The Optimistic Workplace. It's creating an environment that energizes everyone. Who is everyone?
That was the publisher's idea. I did not like that part. And if they're listening right now, they're hearing that for the first time. I think everyone in this case is everyone that's on a team.
Yeah. And how do you energize the team? What's the key?
Well, there are 6 keys, but I've been coached on how to say this, and so
give us your elevator pitch.
I think I'll just limit it to a couple things. I think if you're going to create an optimistic workplace, the first thing that a manager is going to want to do is they're going to need to get real clear on what does the business need to achieve, right? And when we work with organizations, you think this is a simple thing, right? I tell people what's important, and then people do it. Well, we need to hear things multiple times. So getting clarity on what the goals are of the business, really important. Making sure that there's feedback, right? Okay. So that if I'm an employee and you're telling me these are the top 3 things, I need to know if I'm doing the right thing to be able to help achieve those goals. So goals, what are the top priorities in the business? These are simple things, but oftentimes they're not management practices that are followed.
You often find that the goals of the individual employee don't necessarily align with the goals of the company, or are you looking to find that mesh?
Well, I think oftentimes what we find is that there is no conversation around what's the goal with you as the employee and what's the goal of the organization and how do we bring them together? And oftentimes it's like, well, you work for me, so my goals are your goals. That's just not going to work today.
You can't just tell them what to do. They have to want it.
That's right.
And see how they align. Yeah, very cool. Yeah. Now, you've written this book. You're doing podcasts. Some of you may know out there that I am working on a book. It's called Yes If, The C Student's Guide to Entrepreneurial Success, where I have 3 easy, I don't have 6, I just have 3 keys with a possible 4.
3's a good number.
Yeah, it's the 3 S's with the possible 4, show up, shock 'em, and systematize. But it's not about me today. It's about you. Now, but I would like some advice. Now, writing a book, how has that helped the rest of your organization, the rest of your business?
So writing a book is really about social proof, right? That I know what the hell I'm talking about. Okay. Can I say that word? I just did.
Can you, Chris? Bleep that. We don't use profanity on this show, do we? Okay, go ahead. You slipped by. Hopefully the FCC's not listening.
Well, you just send me the bill. Right? So I think I totally forgot the question, Mark.
So did I. But so in your book, in your podcast, how do they help the rest of the business? I mean, you talked about it being sort of like giving you credibility. I don't know if that's a term you use, but how does that help? Yeah.
So writing a book, when you're a first-time writer, you don't expect to make money off of it, right? So I think what you really want to, darn.
Yeah. I was like, oh, shoot, I thought I was going to make some cash on my book.
Well, you could have a different experience.
Okay.
So far, that is not my experience, but it's only been not even 2 months since the book has been out. It gives some social proof, some credibility, but I think it also helps establish how we can help other organizations. So when I wrote The Optimistic Workplace, it was really not just a why it's important or what it is, but how do you do this? How do I create the sense of optimism that people, when they come to work, have hope? And so we can actually go in and help organizations, and the book actually shows, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and so so the book's not taken off yet? It doesn't sound like it's.
No, it's actually doing pretty good.
Where can they buy the book? Where can I buy? You gave me a copy, but where can someone buy this book?
Yep. So Barnes and Nobles is carrying it. Okay. Amazon, for those of us who like to shop online, is carrying it. We just learned that that it's been named one of the top business books of 2015. So that'll be announced officially in January. So it's doing pretty good. It's been a top seller on Amazon.
And you own your own business. It's a scalable model, it seems to me, because a book can scale out and you can sell the book anywhere.
Right.
You have a podcast that obviously listen to over the internet, so people can listen to you from anywhere. What do you see in terms of the growth of your company, and how do you scale it from here?
Yeah, that is the biggest question that we're having right now. A conversation that we're having right now is, so we're a virtual team. My business partner is in Seattle. We have other employees who are all across the country. And really where we're focusing is on the consulting, because that's where we can help stabilize cash flow.
Right.
So we're working to get into our dream client lists. So figuring out how do we best help each of these clients who we see.
What is a dream client?
A dream client for us is somebody that, one, we can actually leverage what we're good at. So
is it a small business or a larger business?
We actually medium-sized to large business.
Okay.
Yeah. We've tried working with small businesses, and we actually have a few small business clients. But what we find is that the size of the employees doesn't really need the size of the services that we provide, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because we do culture studies, and you don't need to really do a whole lot of work with 5 employees.
So I'm sorry for interrupting you on that last, but as we kind of wrap up, any last advice for entrepreneurs and people that are chasing their dream, trying to build some businesses?
I would say definitely get clear on the purpose of the business. Why should someone choose you over your competitor? That needs to be real clear. And I think a way to do that is to understand what's the problem you're trying to solve. I think spending time hiring the right people instead of just hiring the people that come your way, because they're the face of your business. They're the ones that are actually making stuff happen. So you really want to feel confident that they're out there doing, reflecting what the business is trying to reflect.
No question. Shawn Murphy, thank you for being on the show today. Thanks for helping entrepreneurs like us, and for your book. I haven't read the entire thing yet, but I'm planning on getting there. I want to take a minute to thank Jerry Wallace, and I want to thank our sponsor. Haney Garcia Realty Group is a sponsor of this show, and we are helping create some entrepreneurial dreams at Haney Garcia. One of the things we're doing is we're getting ready to open up a new office. Kelly Pressler, one of our top agents, she was doing so well. She's such a leader. We decided to help her create an entrepreneurial opportunity for herself. And I have a mic problem? Oh, okay. I'm getting some language, some body language from the peanut gallery. So I was like, hey, don't forget to tell about this. So on the entrepreneurial story with Kelly is we are helping drive a new office in Lincoln. And Kelly is going to own a part of that company. And we're going to become business partners here in the next few weeks. And I'm really excited about that. And I think that's one of the things we do at Haney Garcia is we're looking to differentiate. We're looking to help realtors become entrepreneurs and do some things that are different. Now today we are going to do we're having a Socks for Soldiers campaign at our Granite Drive office in Rockland. It's at the Allegiant Giving Center, 4465 Granite Drive. I will be there from 12 to 1. We're working on driving socks to give back to our soldiers. And I think you know that my son spent some time in the military, and I've got a story behind that that's very personal and very meaningful to me. And if we can find a way to give back to the guys that protect this great nation, then we are, it's the least that we can do as entrepreneurs. And so I'll be down there at Haney Garcia from 12 to 1 today. Coming up next week, we'll have Mike Paris, founder of Black Pine Communities. Mike and Black Pine are building luxury homes that cater to the evolving lifestyles of today's residential home buyer. He recently rolled out the exclusive Curtis Park Village, and we were just down at his newest development, the Creamery at Alkali Flats on the corner of 10th and D Street, and it's making Sacramento's newest development, Sacramento's oldest neighborhood. So that is, and we went down there the other day, and it is a really cool neighborhood. We'll have Mike on the show next week. And then coming up after the break, I will share some closing thoughts on winning and how we might string some wins together. So I'm Mark Haney. You're listening to Entrepreneurs Unlimited on Sports 1140, streaming live podcast and YouTube at haneybiz.com.
Once again, here's Mark.
I have some closing thoughts for today's show. What does winning really look like as an entrepreneur? You can kind of think sports, and you think of like the Golden State Warriors. They've won 20 games in a row, I think it is right now.
Right.
And, somehow they've been able to string some wins together. You've got Del Oro High School, right, their football program. They've strung several winning seasons together, focusing on practice, focusing on the process, focusing on the pursuit of winning, and not necessarily focusing on the payday.
Right, the prize.
The prize, yeah. So it's kind of interesting where you see some common threads in people that win. And I think some of the theories were reinforced on today's show. I mean, we talked about stringing some wins together. Jerry Wallace talking about showing up at work at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we know that he's working till late hours at night on how he gives back to the community and helping the Rockland softball team. He's the head coach of the Rockland softball. So he's finding a way to give back, and he's finding a way to really commit. Now, so really winning the morning sounds like a great strategy.
Right.
Win the morning. If you get up and you have productive time in the morning, it really sets the tone for the rest of the day. And as you think about winning the morning, well, what about winning the afternoon? Yeah, absolutely. And winning the evening. And, I have a picture in my office of Ronald Reagan, and underneath it has something about winning supper time. So as families, as we think about America's youth, as we think about how this nation is evolving, and we're evolving in ways that we probably need to reverse direction. In some ways, I think a little bit of the welfare mentality is sort of becoming more of a populist mentality. It's more rampant out there. And I think some of those values that you get about giving back to the community and giving back work ethic and working hard, and some of those just good values that you learn in sports, that you learn as a business owner, that you learn through the school of hard knocks, they happen at the dinner table, right? And so the picture in my office is of Ronald Reagan, and it's a quote that says, "All great change in America begins at the dinner table." And I just think that focus on family and focus on the values and the philosophies that enable all of us to chase our dream, that's what it's all about. That's how we string our wins together. That's how we have year over year. That's how the prize will somehow get to us, I think, if we focus on the basics. So we got to win today. We got to win December. If we're going to win January, we got to win December. So let's have a great December. Let's set the you can't say, hey, let's put it off till the first of the year. We got to win December. Win this morning, win December, and we win January. And let's string some wins together for the rest of 2016 and beyond. Now, with a heavy heart, I've got to mention the recent terrorist attack in San Bernardino, and I've got to salute the heroes that responded, that tracked down and eliminated that threat. It's difficult to call this situation a win because there's so many people that have been negatively affected by this, but that San Bernardino law enforcement team came through, and I know it came through exhaustive training, teamwork, and believing in the process. So God bless all the law enforcement people out there for the hard work and the courage that you show, the selflessness, one of the most underpaid professions in this country. Really appreciate what you guys did, and just want to say, never above you, never below you, always by your side.
Absolutely.
That's our theme. Appreciate our guest today. Appreciate everything that my team has done to help put this together. And Jerry Wallace, thank you for being my good friend and sharing the last 40-something years with me.
He's an extraordinary guy.
He is.